Hold on, let me go, guys. We're back to
Man's the nicest. Thanks to the one I've got.
What? You want to the freestyle now?
Oh, what?
Alright, we're live.
We're live.
I just want to see what everyone's saying. Alright, listen, guys. Welcome to another show of grown Arse Men. Man, them in the building, make some noise. Listen, 2017 vibes.
Yeah.
I'll obviously take my seat in 2 seconds. But today's show, we are actually looking forward to it, man. First one of the year. Yeah, before we carry on, let me say a few words and introduce who we've kind of got inside. So starting from the left as you're looking at the screen, who have we got?
Well, it's me, you know, it is the Pan-African Dwayne. Happy New Year to you all, and thanks for joining us again.
Sound very official. Yeah, again.
Yo, Happy New Year, Rakes.
You got that point in still. Next man, who we got?
You saying, can I copy that point? It's Mr. D. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Nick Clark.
It's me.
Yeah, cool. With the Liverpool fitted. Right. Right, firstly, before we obviously get the show started, there's a few things that I need to say and kind of just put a few shout outs and give some apologies. Right, firstly, New Year's, it was our intention to try and do a New Year's show. We wanted to do something special.
Yeah.
We was away for New Year's on, well I say we, minus one at the table. Yeah, Mr. Sick Note. Yeah, so we were, that was good timing. It's not a lie. So listen, so firstly I want to big up I want to big up the Getaway and Big Business for an amazing weekend in Reading. Yeah. And Penta Hotels, you guys were very kind to us and tried to be as accommodating as possible. We had some Wi-Fi issues, which was, you know, the hotel's fault. Let's keep it real. It was their fault, but we appreciate it anyway.
They tried to
they tried to sabotage us secretly. But apologies to all of those who really wanted to tune in. We do appreciate that. Obviously, you know today that we're missing one man like G,
the Barled.
yeah, sick. Now listen, Barleds. Yeah, let's not. They're just all people, okay. But as well, we really want to give a massive shout out to Sylvie Marlin. She's been adding loads of people to the group. Yeah, so give Sylvia a big hand.
Sylvia.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
Sylvia.
Everyone share out this as well, man. As soon as we go live, that's the share button time. Yeah, we should just give everyone 60 seconds and just say share time.
Yeah.
If you owe me, you owe me.
No, what?
Man's got bars, innit?
Oh, really?
Like, I'm with you though, Craig. Give them time, like they said, time to share. Get them all share,
man. Right, listen, guys, it's officially share time. Let's get it going.
No pressure. Don't share.
Right, as well, we've already had some
credit
people
to
coming in.
if you know me,
Yeah, the
you know
share
me.
crew's they're going with it right now. I appreciate that.
While you're sharing,
Love that.
thanks to everyone we saw on New Year's that bigged us up and gave us a lot of love and recognised us from the show.
Love.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Like, even the ones that don't like me and was cussing me, thank you still.
Why were they cussing you though?
Because some of my opinions they don't agree with.
Oh, okay. Alright, cool. Thoughts for other reasons.
No, I'm a nice guy.
But yeah, listen, 2017, we're looking to go hard with this grown ass man, and all we ask is that you continue to support, continue to share, continue to like. Yeah, we're looking to
Special guest next week as well.
That soon, bro.
Oh, right, you put that out there real quick.
Wow, okay.
I don't know if I can say.
No, we can't say too much more. Let's.
But next week, watch for definite.
Well, you should be watching this week as well. But anyway,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, sorry.
Let me kind of delve into things. Let's kind of get the show started. The topic for today was actually inspired by one of the many people who have been writing into us.
Yes.
And basically, you know, giving us some scenarios, some of them real, and some of them are just scenarios that they would like to kind of hear our views on. I just want to let you guys know that we really appreciate that. Like, that's what helps make the show for us. All right. So what this one is called Partners versus Children, or Partner versus Child. All right. So let me kind of set the scenario, and then I'm going to throw it to the table, and you man can take it away. Right. You go into a relationship with somebody with a child. Okay. You then start living together. That person brings their child into your home. You subsequently have children together. And basically what we're kind of delving at is how does the treatment of the two children differ? And also, when we was talking about it as obstacles as well. How do you deal with it when the child who is not yours challenges you or pushes the boundaries. Let me kind of throw it out there as that is, and let's kind of expand on it. Who wants this one? All right, listen, don't fight. Who wants to take this one? Because
I'll take it. Go on. I think that while you always, for me, I'd always treat the children the same. I may not love them. I'm always going to love my child a little bit more. Like, as honest. But you'll treat both children the same. I think when it comes to parenting them, ultimately, the parent, so if I'm not the parent, the other parent has the main say. As much as I would want to be a disciplinarian, etc., they still have their own parents. And I can't cross that line, so to speak, and discipline them in the same way that I would discipline my child.
Would you say, just kind of throw it out there, would you say age plays a factor in that in terms of what age the other child is?
I think age and the involvement of the other parent as well. So if their dad's not active, then I'll play a more active role in the disciplinary actions or whatever that word is of that child. But if the dad is present, then I wouldn't need to take an active role. And then, same with my child. If my ex got a boyfriend, I wouldn't expect him to try to discipline my child. It's just not his right to do that. It's my place to do that, and he has to know his place.
But I suppose that father isn't doing his role properly. There is no discipline for that child. Do you not then feel like
that's still there?
The dad's there. He's around, but he's not adding anything. Do you not then feel that it's your duty to help your partner and add that?
For me, I think that would be down to the other partner, and it will be her decision as to whether she wants you to step in and play that role.
Yeah.
Because you can't decide upon yourself that you're going to play that, because you can upset both parties. You have to get like her view and what she feels from that, or him, depending on the circumstances.
Yeah, I hear that.
So, all right, so let's get to a scenario where, because we're talking about the difference in the two children and the treatment of those children to you and you to them.
Right.
Right, so you've got one child who is now pushing, let's just say that this child that you brought in is unruly, and acting disrespectful.
Which is obviously not your
biological child.
Right.
So you discipline, remember, they're brother and sister, or brother and brother, or sister and sister.
But you can't, So
you understand what I mean? So they see how you discipline your own child.
Yeah.
But when it gets to the point of this unruly child is now being disrespectful, and it could impact the way in which your child looks at you, how do you deal with that?
I think it's, you can't just go into that situation without having numerous discussions about how you're going to parent. Like Nick says, you're never going to love another child as much as you love your own child. But in order to make the relationship work, I think you would have to set boundaries from the get-go, where you can say, right, this is what I expect from you in regards to my child. This is what I think where I'll allow you free reign, but it stops here. So, for instance, I don't know, putting your hand on my child, that's a no-go. Yeah. Or some people might say, do you know what? I feel comfortable allowing you to smack my child. Boy, I don't know about that personally. As you would smack your own child. Okay. Yeah. So you have to have boundaries. You have to discuss that first and foremost, and both people have to be in unison as to how they're going to discipline and how they're going to parent each child, both sets of children.
That's all well and good, D. But if you've got the boundaries and then you've got this child that's just acting mad, unruly, you've now come to your limit as to what you can do. Now your child, you can go that step further. And this child, you cannot. Your child is looking at thinking, hold on a minute, he's getting away with this. He's my brother, but he's able to get away with this. That's going to start causing problems in your relationship.
No, but then that's where your partner comes in.
But that's what I'm saying, it's going to cause problems. It shouldn't have got to that at the end of the day. And if it starts getting to that, it's going to cause a strain on the relationship, because at the end of the day, one or two of those people have to step in and do something.
I think yes and no. I think yes and no. I think I get part of what you're saying, but if my child's good, say, and my partner can see how me discipline my child works, you have to, and your child's from Bad Breed Pitney.
That's talking real, isn't it?
You're gonna have to. Let's have it as it is for real.
You're gonna have to buy into my methods at some point. So even though you might not want me to, or might not agree with it, you're gonna have to buy into it, or you're gonna have to deal with that consequence by yourself.
But
it's not by yourself,
no. If is a child living with us?
Yeah.
Child living with you.
Both children live with you.
They both live with you, bro.
I can't be responsible if I don't have full remit.
I'm not saying you're responsible, but at the end of the day, the child, your child is looking at you, thinking, okay, well, why is he getting away with this?
But you know what? It comes down to parenting styles and parenting techniques, and your ideologies as a parent. Because you might say, you know what? Talk to my child 2-3 times. If he doesn't listen, he gets the smack. Yeah, I'm not saying that's how you are, but that might be the case. She might think, you know what, smacking is totally out of the question. So you can say, well, do you know what, it works for me, it works for my children. But then she would look at it and say, well, I totally disagree with smacking, and I'm never going to allow you to do that. So I don't think you can say, well, if you can see that I'm successful with my children and disciplining my children in a certain way, that you have to allow me to do that, because it depends on what your belief is in parenting.
Ultimately, I'm gonna be honest with you. There's not much you can do when there are limits on what you can do. Now, obviously, I'm a foster carer. Yeah. Now, I've got one kid, for example, who about 3-4 weeks ago kicked the teacher. Now, there is no way on God's earth my child's getting away with kicking the teacher. But I can't. There's only so much I can do to this kid.
But when you say getting away, what would your punishment be to your own child if you came back and heard that they kicked down the teacher?
Firstly, my child ain't doing that.
No.
I know my children.
I'm not gonna have that.
No, but firstly, I know my child ain't doing it, because they know levels and you don't do that. But at the end of the day, whereas you don't do them things, like I'm gonna be honest, I don't know where I would go with it, yeah, but I would lose my rag in it, and I can't lose my rag with foster child.
So what if then your child saw that child and thought it was okay to do that?
Right, and that's what with where I deal with it. I use the other kids as examples as to, I know it might sound wrong, but how you don't want to be in it. So at the end of the day, if this child's doing this, I say, well, listen, you don't want to do that, and I'll give an example as to why and where that leads to, and that's how I manage it. But otherwise, it can get very tough. I haven't got to those mad teenage years where I have to worry too much about it because they're still young.
Yeah.
But that's the only way you can deal with it.
So, all right, let me take it to the stream and let's see what people are saying now. I've got Carleen here saying, well, to be real, a child will push you if they see your own children push you. You have no right to put your hands on them as it's not your children. I would be telling the dad and he needs to deal with it. So obviously that's coming from a woman's perspective. We get that. Joella has actually said exactly, Nick, to the point that you was actually making before. And then Carleen again goes on to say, no woman can put her hands on mine. If she feels my child is out of place, she needs to tell the dad or call my phone. See, I'm going to look at, I just want to kind of tackle that point. I don't think it's realistic to be in the midst of a situation and say, whoa, listen, stop acting like a little bastard for a minute. I need to call your mum. It almost undermines yourself. Yeah, you understand what I mean?
Definitely.
So
I don't care. I don't care. You phone my phone. I agree, but I'm with Nick on this. Yeah. I understand that at certain times you need to deal with the situation straight away. But my child,
let me make myself very clear. At no point am I promoting putting your hands on somebody else's child. Like, I'm not promoting that, but I'm just saying in the midst of a situation, I don't think I'm not saying at the point of I need to hit this child, I'm going to call you. No, I'm not saying that, but I'm saying in the midst of a situation, I don't think it's realistic. I might be able to call you after and discuss what's happened.
No, I'm not saying, by no means am I saying that you can't tell my child off. If my child's naughty, if he's in you lot's care, feel free to tell him off or whatever. But the minute one of you don't think it's cool to grip him up or whatever, then we got a problem.
So can I do this now? So I don't know, he's 6 or something. Yeah, they're driving and he just busts the door, bruv. And the car, and the person takes their time and they smack him on the hand.
Oh, that's fine.
Okay,
that's fine.
Right,
that's fine. Yeah.
So a smack on the hand is cool.
On the situation, not like, oh Tommy, you've got your fingers on my wall. No.
Alright, so basically, as long as you think it's justifiable for like the...
As long as it's relative to the crime.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Because that was going to be my I was going to play devil's advocate. Sorry, Craig. And I was going to ask...
I don't respect this. So that's my job.
I was going to ask, is that like... Because as a man, I don't ever want any man touching my child. Yeah? But if my child has done something that warrants like a smack, I'm not talking about beating and stupid as like a smack, and I'm not with that the mother of my child anymore, and this person who's obviously in his life does that, is it my pride?
I don't think that's what you meant.
You're not putting your hand on my...
No.
No.
What? no, if you're out there watching, none of my future partners are putting their hand on my child. Yeah. Period.
You just said it's
No. To my people, to my friends. I've given my friends that authority. Yeah, nobody, is putting their listen.
Listen. All right, let's get to the crux in it. That's what I'm saying. Playing devil's advocate, because once again, please, I'm not accepting that either. But I often also we have to look at ourselves and say, all right, is that our pride in it? Is that our pride as men? Yeah, where we're just saying, regardless of what the child has done, do you know what? No man can put their hand on my child.
I'll tell you what it is. I think it's more about the role they play in your child's life. So if, let's say that your child is living with your ex and her new partner, and he's also the disciplinarian and the head of that household, then what is my role? Like, so you're almost losing being your dad. It's being a dad, sorry.
So you can't be the dad all the time if you're not there, can you?
No, but he can't discipline my child. I will always be his dad, whether I'm there or not. I'll always be their dad.
Let me rephrase that. What I'm saying is you cannot discipline your child all the time if you do not see what's happening in that instance.
But then he's that's what his mum's there for. There's two parents.
Okay.
Yeah? Like, there's no reason for this other man to be playing that role.
Agreed.
Alright, listen, let me take it to the stream because we're getting some good comments coming through. Right, Simone has said, if the father is no longer about and the mother is in agreement with a smack/beating, it's all good.
Yeah. If there's no dad around, then
it's all good.
Free for
okay. Right.
Hold on.
Ever let me hear you beat my child. Ever.
But her point, you're not around. Yeah, but her point, you're not around. If there's an agreement, then...
Bro, around or not around?
You're not around.
But you're not around.
You've got to hear it. I think if it's not around, you're forfeiting your right.
Yeah.
You're forfeiting your right to say that.
Yeah. If I'm bringing up your child as my child and I've done more for your child than what I have, then I've got more right to beat than what you have.
Yeah.
You better hold yourself.
Real.
That don't apply to me. So you do
like, I don't know, bro. Like, it's somebody else's child, though. Like,
but he's right.
But it's not. He's now taking that as his child.
So what?
Is it really? He no longer sees it as someone else's child.
I take that on board. It's just, yeah.
Man's.
Listen. Let me go back to the screen. Right. Lee Andrews has said, no man ain't putting their hand on my child. I'll do the disciplining. If he can have a firm talk and even set boundaries, but not physical contact, unless it's play fighting. I've got 2 children, one from my previous relationship, and she's 11, and a 2-year-old with my partner now. If we break up, I don't want his partner to touch my son. Yeah, big up there. That's cool. Yeah. So you just got to remain in that situation. That's fair enough.
Cynic. I'll get at you.
Yeah, I can see.
But I don't know. Your boy is at home with mum, and she tells him off for something. He's 13, bruv. A man says F this, and he just grips his mum up. Is that man not in his right with to grip him up?
No, you can take him off of him.
Yeah. But he's not, bro, he's gripping his mum, bruv.
You take him off of him. And you put him in the room or something. But you're not.
He's wilding. He's wilding.
Wilding what? Doing what?
Bro, he's wilding and he's gripping him. He's not having it, bro. Get off me.
A grown man is strong enough to take the boy, 13-year-old boy aside and put him. You can put him in his room.
You can hold him.
But you're gonna grip him up to take him off and put him in his room.
That's what you're gonna do. That's fine.
The short term.
I don't want to hear no headlocks, no punches, nothing like that.
No.
This ain't baby boy.
The short term, just get away from the situation. Yeah, this ain't baby boy.
Right, listen, let me take it to the stream because there's a little convo going on. I want to be involved too, if that's okay. Or we. Right. London Lawrence has said, my stepdad raised me as his. My dad was always around, but my stepdad dealt with me as his. He disciplined me and I feared him as a dad and loved him as one. I think it depends on the relationship you have with the child outside of the discipline aspect. Children respond to love and know when they are treated differently, which will determine how they behave for you, but also how they respond to your authority or parenting. I've got to big up that.
That's very good. That's a very good point.
Very well put as well.
Yeah, very good point.
What did her dad think about that?
Okay, yeah. If you want to come back and let us know obviously what your dad thought of that situation, that would obviously help us to kind of give a view as well. And Lee Andrews has just gone back again and said, oh yes, and I've had a stepfather for 33 years, and he has never raised his hand on me, and I was a bad teenager. There was 5 D's in that bag. 5 D's. Yeah, she was bad. Right.
I think in most circumstances, the step parents don't put down, because my stepdad didn't put his hand on me. My mum, I got beatings, trust me, but my mum dealt with that. Trust me.
Beatings. Yeah, shout out to Mrs. John. Right, Kelly has actually said, basically, be around there for your child so no one has to step in to discipline.
Definitely.
Yeah?
Definitely.
What you saying though?
I just think, like, I'm always going to be around for my child, is it? So I can't envisage ever having to allow a man to step in any way, shape, or form into my role. But at the end of the day, what this is about is what benefits the child in it. Where for me, I'm all about my child in it. I have to put my personal pride aside certain times. So if I think my child has acted a certain way, I think I would be and if I can see that the mother of my child is in a healthy relationship with this person, is in a long-term relationship with this person, and it's not no puppy show, no joke thing, then I think I have to look at myself and say, all right, you know what, if this guy is going to be in my child's life on a permanent basis, and he's actually going to be seeing my child more than I am, I have to look at that and say, all right, well, surely this man needs to act as a father figure, act in a father figure role. Yeah, that doesn't necessarily mean punching out my child, because obviously, once again, that's never ever going to be acceptable in my eyes. But he has to be allowed to discipline this child in a certain way.
All right, so let me just expand on that, and I'll use one of the comments to do that as well. Joanna has actually just said, if this person is going to be consistently in your child's life, then yes, they should be allowed to discipline your child. However, they should also be aware that there's a line that should not be crossed. If it's really serious, come to me. Right, so at that point now, exactly. So do the two parents or the two same role parents need to have a conversation as to where that line is, or is it for the other person who's in that relationship to lay down that marker?
The 3 parents need to have a conversation.
The moment anyone's in that situation and you've got multiple parents, everyone is supposed to come together, have a conversation, so that everyone understands where their boundaries are, what can be done, what can't be done, and I think also to a point, the children need to be told exactly that they must respect their other parent. They must understand that this person can discipline you. But obviously there are lines.
I don't think you should tell them that.
I disagree with that.
Because to just get onto Marlon's point, does the age of the child bear a factor on that conversation, or it should just never?
I was with him until he said you tell the child about the lines. You can't tell the child about the lines because then
lines in in terms of what they could, because it's all about this.
Then they're going to take the piss us, and they know.
I'm not talking about lines like you can do this, but he won't do this to you. I'm talking about lines that you need, that child needs to learn about what's allowed and what's not allowed.
I think
general discipline.
I think going back to London Lawrence's point, what she raised, I think children respond to love and respond to how you are inserting your authority. So I don't think you need to say that to a child. If this guy is serious and worth his salt, he will be an authority figure. Once again, doesn't mean that you need to smack him, but children will respond to that love and how you deal with them.
But depending on the age of a child, like you're talking, let's say like you're 6 or whatever. Yeah, you're gonna go into that situation and a child is likely to listen to the parent. If a child is 12 or whatever and and a new guy comes in,
not my dad.
He's not necessarily he's not necessarily going to be as welcoming to that love and authority and whatever. He needs to be spoken to by and even speaking to your child. You might not get through to them, but you have to at least start somewhere.
Daniel just come in and just said yes, Rakes, in terms of agreeing with the point he was making. I just want to go into, because we've actually got another response from London Lawrence, and then the way I can let you to continue. Right, she said, my dad and my stepdad got along very well, surprisingly, and he saw the relationship that he had with me, so trusted that his discipline came from a good place. My stepdad smacked me once that I can remember. It must have been a good one. He didn't need to regularly, as I respected him, but also I saw him as a father figure. And
shout out to both of them two guys. Because to like not befriend, but to respect each other to that degree,
co-parent,
it's very good, and it makes the job a lot easier.
And that's I suppose that's what it is, isn't it? It's co-parenting.
Exactly.
That's just
That's rare.
Exactly.
But
It's rare.
It is rare to be on side with each other to that point. What I would say with Drake, he said about everyone needs to sit down and talk. I do agree with all three need to sit down and talk. However, the one who's not biological, for me, you're just there to listen. Like for me, you ain't got much say in the matter. Like you can hear me and understand what I'm saying, but know that you're just listening.
No, but I disagree with that.
You're not gonna tell me what you're doing, my child.
No. It's not necessarily telling what you're gonna do with the child. But listen, he is in a relationship, isn't it? Or she, whoever the non-biological parent is, they are in a relationship. So they have a say in terms of, you know what, if you're going to be bringing your child around, if your child is going to be around, then like for instance, I'm just putting myself in that person's shoes. If I'm in a relationship and it's not my child, I'm saying to that person, do you know what, I'm not looking to be or harm their child in any way, but I'm not going to be disrespected, and I'm not going to allow a child to come and rule me. Fine. So therefore, we need to then discuss how we go about this. You know what I mean? Right. So for you to say that person doesn't really have any say, I disagree.
No, but what you've said, JD, is that you're not going to be disrespected. There's nothing wrong with you saying that. But my thing is, you're not going to tell me about the rules and regulations as to what my child is and can't do. That's my job. You will sit and listen to that. You can say you don't want to be disrespected and what you don't want done to you or in your household. Yeah. I will tell you what the consequences will be for my child.
Very quickly then, all right? What if it's my household, yeah? It's my household, this woman is moving into my house, with her children is moving into my household, yeah? She can just tell me, okay, ABC, this is happening, that's it, you have to listen to it.
That's what I will go through her, and then she will have to have a word with you. You don't tell me the rules.
Imply the rules of your household,
and
you can't imply the rules on...
Okay.
Enforce the law.
You know, just kind of stop you there. That takes me on to my next point in terms of the dynamic of what I want to discuss today. So, is there a situation where, because of the rules that's been set, but let's again just kind of keep the scenario theme going. Yeah. Let's say you've had this conversation now. You know what the rules and boundaries are. Yeah. Is there ever a situation where you now have to parent two children differently?
I think
with knowledge, knowing that that person does something wrong, that person does the next thing wrong, but I have to say two different things to them, or I have to treat that situation in two different ways.
I personally think you do that regardless if it's yours or not. Like my two children, I don't parent them in the same way because they are very, very different. So I don't think that makes a difference to me.
All right, but you know, it's almost like you're saying that, and I get in terms of personality, but consequence for an action is consequence for an action.
Yes, if both children do the same thing, are the consequences the same?
Yeah.
Even now, I don't in my house. I don't do that. The consequences for certain things are different because certain things have different impacts on different children. Like with one of my children, I know just taking away his DS is going to be a serious problem for him. Whereas if I take away from my daughter, for example, that's just not going to bother her. So the consequence for me is going to be different depending on the child as well.
Okay. I think obviously dealing with the scenario you provided, I think the answer to your question is yes. You as a non-biological parent, you would have to accept that you're not going to necessarily be able to discipline a child exactly like how you discipline your own child. And I think you'd have to accept that. Maybe it might change like in the long term once you've built up like foundation, you built up a certain rapport and a certain relationship with this child. But I think you'd have to accept that, yeah.
Okay, just again, like I said, I'm adding little bits to this story. So, guys in the stream, I hope you can keep up. In fact, before I do that, let me just read out a few comments that's been coming through. Right, I'm exposing everyone's first and last name. I don't care. Right, Melissa Clark. I respect and love my stepdad probably more than my biological dad because he chose to take me and my mum on. He never raised his hand to me, and I respect him more for never feeling he could or wanted to.
So, can I ask if your dad's actually in your life?
Yeah, Melissa, listen, we're getting up in everyone's business today. If you want to come back and let us know if your biological dad is actually in your life, and then how would he feel hearing that as well?
That's what I'm saying, that'll burn me, bro.
That would definitely burn.
And that being said, when you get married, if you're not married already, who done it all?
Good question.
Ooh. All right, listen, yeah, we're expanding this out. Right, Danielle has said, I would not slap another's child, especially if parents are involved in the child's life. Cool. Louise has actually said, Louise Martin, sorry, in case we get mixed up. I'd expect my child to have respect all day long for a step-parent, but ultimately I think discipline should be down to the parent, full stop. Like, have your say by all means, and it should be respected. However, when it comes down to the actual discipline, mum or dad does it. Okay. And what I'm gonna read a few more as well. But what I want to add to this conversation as well is, what about when you get into a situation now where the way in which you are parenting or guiding this child that's not yours starts to impact your relationship? And I'll give you a few examples. It could be that, I don't know, you get upset because you're not getting the full support of that person's actual parent, who's your partner, and you allow them to maybe, I don't know, disrespect them, disrespect you, or disrespect maybe your family member, and it's not kind of dealt with in that way. How do you take the steps to not allow it to break up a relationship?
The onus is on the child, is on the parent of the child that's being disrespectful. Yeah, because if the person, the non-biological parent, is saying, you know what, I feel disrespected. You can see I'm being disrespected, like, and they're being respectful in not challenging the child or not dealing with the child the way they see fit. Then the biological parent has to step in and do something. Otherwise, it just depends. It just depends on how committed they are to the relationship, I suppose. Real talk.
For me, yeah, the best example of this is probably Uncle Phil, because he brought up Will Smith here. Uncle Phil, like
Man said Uncle Phil.
Shout out to Uncle Phil. Yeah, carry on. There.
You know him.
In terms of the forget parent, non-parent, whatever. I'm not letting any child disrespect me on any level. Period. I don't have to lay my hands on them. I don't have to do anything, but I think respect is just a basic foundation that every child should have, and I don't think that it's, if you think that your child or your non-child or your child is going to disrespect me and I'm just going to allow it, I'm not having it.
Exactly.
and well,
Just go and do.
if it comes to a point where it's unmanageable, then I just won't involve myself with that child anymore. That's that.
So this is what I'm saying, though. That's the question. So what about the relationship? Because you can't avoid the child. The child is living with you.
I'll be cool with the child, but in terms of like me going out my way and all them things,
I hear you.
Like, I will teach you a lesson. Like,
you're gonna learn.
Yeah, but that's gonna impact your relationship, and that's the question.
No. Because if the parent isn't dealing with it, so if my partner is just gonna allow that to happen, so I'm talking like I'm the woman here. But it can be both ways. No, I'm not joking. No, if my partner's gonna allow that to happen and watch their child disrespect me, then that's already impacting on my relationship with her. Because like, you know that I'm limited in what I can do here, and you're still allowing these lines to be crossed.
So then the onus is then on the biological parent.
Yeah.
But then the relationship's gonna break down, because the moment the child's so you back off and the child is disrespecting you, so you're saying, boy, I'm done then. But then if my partner is allowing that and she doesn't want to do anything about that, then clearly there's something wrong with us too as well.
It depends if she doesn't want to or she can't.
Yeah. She can't. Yeah.
But can I say something? Do you honestly think that is gonna, like, alright, for instance, you got a troublesome teenager, yeah, and you back out and you're saying, alright, cool, like, you're being too disrespectful, I'm gonna back out. Do you really think that teenager is gonna then stop? That teenager is gonna have less respect for you.
No.
He's gonna have less respect.
Standing out for your game.
Alright, listen, I'm going to stop you there. We are going to get back to that. This seems like a first for me, and regular followers can tell me if it's true. I've had 1, 2, 3. I've had about 4 people clapping Nick for his comment. Hey, listen, let's give Nick a round of applause, everyone. Yeah, that don't happen often. Back on the serious though. Yeah, London Norris has said, yes, Nick, respect is key. I don't want no bad breed. Yeah. Javon. Big up Javon as well, like he's just giving Nick a round of applause. Danielle said, well said, Nick. Nick, I can't read that no more. This is uncomfortable. This is uncomfortable for me. But just going back, taking it back a few steps. Melissa has come back to us. Melissa is the one who said about her dad as well. Melissa said, my dad sorry, let me go back to the first one. Yes, my dad is in my life, very much part of my life.
Wow.
Right, hold on. The next one is Melissa said, I got married 10 years ago.
Wow.
Who walked her down the aisle, guys?
Both. The dad. Both.
Both. All right. Dwayne, who are you saying?
Both.
Dad. Both.
She's a coward.
I asked my stepdad to walk me down the aisle, but he said I should ask my dad. Maximum respect to him for putting his own feeling aside and giving respect. Listen, that's gotta give me goosebumps. Like honestly, I think that's so dope. Melissa, you're lucky as well. Melissa has also said my dad understands the relationship I have with my stepdad and is thankful to him for being the full-time dad that he couldn't be. That is dope.
I'll be hurt.
Does her dad know that he was second best to Arse?
No, I think you can't. I'll be hurt.
If he watches this stream, then he might know. But to be honest, I don't care. I think it's irrelevant. But at the same time, Melissa, if you can let us know, did your dad actually know about the scenario which led to him walking you down the aisle? And this is not to cause trouble.
Sorry, he's a good man.
Sorry, carry on, Nick.
No, I'm just saying that he's a good man.
Very.
Like the stepdad.
Yes, great. That's
absolutely.
That's a man.
That's
dope.
dope.
I mean,
That's dope.
That's a man.
Right, I've got Louise here saying step-parents should be united. End of when it comes to children rules. No good cop, bad cop, especially in front of the kids. If your views on parenting can't be discussed or agreed in any way, you ain't meant to be together. Russ, that's
See that no good cop, bad cop thing. I often try to make my wife the better that they can go to. I don't mind being that. For disciplinary, I don't mind that.
Kids seem to like the bad cop.
That's what I find.
I'm quite strict and firm, but kids like me for some reason.
I like to make them feel that she's the good one, and you're not going to really get in so much trouble. I prefer it to fit with that. I rather take all the disciplinary and they fear me more than her, so forth.
Alright, so obviously, guys, you know that I'm adding scenarios. Here's the next part. Sorry, I feel like I'm boring you, but I don't care. Right. So the next part is let me start again. Right. So the person who's the parent to both children, the parent who's the parent to the unruly child. Let's just kind of keep that scenario. The parent to the unruly child is now in a scenario where they have to pick. Let's just say something happened. They now have to pick who do I side with. In this situation, do you side with your child or do you side with your partner who is obviously an adult, your child's a child, and your mother of your other child? We can add that to the scenario. Mother of your other child. What do you do in those situations?
It's not that simple. Yeah, it's circumstance. It depends on the circumstance because I'm not just gonna say. Yeah, it depends on the circumstance.
That's a cop out.
Let me say what I'm saying. I don't care. My child may be bad, be my child, it's my child, innit? Like, so no woman or partner or whoever, my loyalty is my blood. Like, it's come from me. Nothing is coming before that. Whatever the circumstance, my child comes first. And anything else, I can fix that later.
You're one of them.
I got a question.
Come first. You're one of them.
So you have to pick a side, but the woman is also the mother of your other child. Your other child is agreeing with the mum.
But I'm still gonna have a child.
But
I'm still gonna have my other child isn't gonna stop talking to me because I'm being loyal to.
So you don't know who you don't. But your woman is a big hardback woman, yeah. That you respect, yeah.
My woman won't be big. My woman.
Listen, she's a big woman. Yeah? You got full respect for her, and like obviously you got a 12-year-old boy. Like surely, like depending on the circumstance, you might say, well, listen, I'm gonna have to go with her because he might be lying. No, to get himself out of trouble or something. I may not want to say I'm riding for him.
I'm not saying that I'm going to believe what he says, but
that is what you said.
No, I'm saying that I'm going to be loyal to him in terms of whatever he needs or whatever the circumstance. I have to support my child. I can't. That's what I'm saying.
The question is, if you know he's lying, then what do you do?
So you don't know he's lying. That was the question. There's a scenario, yeah. Something's gone off. Yeah, I don't know. He's now come back to you and said she punched him in his stomach.
Okay.
She is telling you, listen, that did not happen.
Yeah.
He's hitting you off with, yeah, she done this.
Then I'll talk to both of them to see who I believe in it.
That's like I said, it's circumstantial. You're not going to ride for him.
No, but I'm not gonna dismiss one or the other.
No, you would. That's what I said. Right.
Yeah, and that's why we said.
So you with us?
That's why we said it's not that simple.
You lot made up that circumstance there, but still.
Let me take it to the stream as well. See what they're saying. Right. Danielle has said, no sides. You all talk as a family.
Yes.
As how it should go. Yeah. Gucci Poochie.
Easy Gooch.
I can't lie, every time I read that name I smile. Like Gucci Poochie, yeah, cool. Yeah, we need to find out your government as well. Right,
Imagine.
she said don't side with no one in that situation.
Right.
Yeah. Right, and Danielle's expanded, no sides, talk as a family is the only way. If you're face to face sorting a problem, it can be sorted out and put to bed. And Tia has actually said, Gucci, I agree to a certain extent. Yes, discipline my child, but don't ever raise a hand to him. Right, they're having a conversation, so that was a little bit out of context. But yeah, let's. I don't know. Everyone keeps saying it's circumstantial, which you know.
What are you saying?
Yeah, I'm saying that yes.
It's great to take that.
You know when you're playing devil's advocate, yeah, someone puts it on you. Yeah, it's good. There are certain situations where. I don't know. I still think that I know my child, and if I'm looking at my child and they're saying something, then but it depends. Like I said, it is circumstantial. I can't hide away from that. But if it is a situation where, let's just say, for example, they say that person sexually touched me, yeah. I don't care.
Yeah, that's different.
We're taking it to the extreme. We're doing it now. I'll put it out there. We can't say no. We're grown-ass men.
No, I'm saying that's different because if somebody says,
let me finish my point. Let me finish. So if someone says to me that, oh, they've sexually touched my child or something, and I'm looking at my child and I believe my child, I don't care about how big that relationship is. It could break up a marriage. Yeah. I don't business. And you know what? If I look the fool in 6, 7, 8 months time when it comes up, then so be it.
Yeah.
That's the situation for me in them type of scenarios. Definitely. But more time, it's going to be hard. Yeah, it's circumstantial, but it's hard to take the view of a child over something serious than an adult.
So for me, let's say that your daughter doesn't like her new stepmom, and she says, "My new stepmom tried to touch me sexually." You're just going to break up your marriage?
No, like I said, I've got to delve into that. I've got to speak to that child. And like I said, I know my child. You have to understand the scenario. I will get them to explain it 50,000 times. Let's say I'm changing that and I can decipher whether that's true or not. And like I said, yes, I would take that step.
And what your wife can articulate better and there's less holes in her story.
Yeah, but like I said, I'm going to be siding with my child.
Investigating, isn't it?
I'm siding with my child. If I believe my child... I don't care how good you articulate yourself, could be Barack Obama for all I care.
Once that's come out, even if I'm not sure, I'm still going to look at my wife differently, and I'm still not going to trust.
You're just going to be you'll be cautious.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, that happens too many times where a child is not believed and they end up getting abused for years.
Yeah.
So but this is a whole different topic, and I think we need to lead
that's something totally different still.
All right, cool. Well, listen, we got to the stage where we got to wrap things up, guys. I've got to get your final views, right? So just to kind of put things into context again, this is about a child outside of your new relationship. You've now had a child. Let's just say you've got 2 children. One's yours and one's not yours. How do you stop the boundaries, or how do you set the boundaries and stop it affecting your relationship? I'm going to ask Rakes, break it down for me, like just your final views.
Communication, once again, key to any situation.
Communicator,
Key to any situation like that. And like I said, it's about everyone coming together and understanding what disciplines are allowed, what the boundaries are, and everyone really understanding and appreciating their roles in the children's lives.
Cool. Nick?
I'm going to echo Rachel a tad there. I think that communication is key. I think that you need to try to unite everyone and treat, even if you don't love kids equally, as I said back at the start, you need to treat them equally, so that one child doesn't feel any less than the other one does, and include them in everything that you do, and almost take them as part of your family. But your child always comes first. If it does all come on top, don't neglect your child or put too much energy into the other child, and to the point where your child gets forgotten.
Darren?
Yeah, I'd kind of echo what both have said. I would say though, don't go into a relationship with another person and their child unless you have the patience to do so. Because shit can go Pete Tong very quickly, and if you don't have the patience in regards to dealing with another person's child, then you're gonna find yourself in an unwanted situation. But yeah, I mean, just like I said, communication is key, man.
Alright, Dwayne, what you got to say?
Yeah, I'm just going to echo what's already been said. Communication and understanding is the key for this. And I think without those two things, you can't solve the issue. And that's it for me.
Alright, cool. Well, guys, to kind of sum things up, communication, man. Like, get them phones signed up to, get your new iPhone, do what you have to do. But you guys, obviously, you need to, and this is not going out to any individual person, but people in general need to communicate. And I think build relationships as well before you kind of take those steps. Personally, I think that's quite a big one as well. But listen, I don't want to kind of let the conversation go there. Guys, thank you for tuning in. We're coming back in about the next 10, 15, about the next 5-10 minutes. And we're going to go to the second part of the show, a little bit lighter. But again, thanks for your support. 2017, let's do this big. Share the video out. Big up yourselves. God bless.
Bless up.
Yeah, and we are...